Top of the morning, everybody. Erica's Secondary Machine. It's like 6:30 a.m. on a Sunday. My son's still sleeping, actually. And so I thought I'd sneak over here to the shop and maybe get my putter on for the day. So I'm on the Facebook Marketplace the other day, something I've been known to do. And I see this ad come up or this listing come up for some home hobby machinist magazines, like a big old stack of them for $100. And so I'm like, oh, I'd buy that. And so I reach out to the seller, and it turns out he immediately recognizes me, which I thought was really funny. And the reason he recognizes me is because he used to work at the front desk at the Grizzly Tools up in Bellingham, which should give you some indication of just how much time I have spent in my life at the Grizzly Tools in Bellingham. And so, anyway, we make arrangements. I tell him, yeah, I want to get these magazines. And it turns out he's going to come through my town a couple of days later. And so he can stop by. So for $100, I'm going to buy all these magazines, right? And part of how I'm justifying buying them is I'm like, well, what I could do is maybe find a project in one of these magazines that I could build for you guys here in the shop and make some YouTube content. And so he brings down the magazines, and man, way more magazines than I thought I was going to get. And so anyway, he brings them down. How I'm justifying purchasing these for $100 is I'm thinking, I'll just find a project in there and I'll build it. So I don't think too much of that. I go to bed. A couple hours later, I wake up the next morning, hop on YouTube, and Mark Pressling is starting another engine build. And I'm like, oh, I'm stoked on that, because his last engine build I followed all the way through and really enjoyed it. But that engine was built off of stuff that you couldn't get, like there's castings involved. And so this engine, you're going to be able to build just from basic like bar stock. And so I'm like, oh, I'm stoked on that. Well, guess where he got the idea for building this engine? It came from the Home Shop Machinist. And it came from 2005. The first one is the July-August issue, which I now own, which I was really pretty thrilled to realize, because I went from like literally less than 12 hours earlier thinking, you know what, I'll build something out of one of these magazines, to Mark Pressling starting a build. And it turns out, here's what, actually, I just watched his first episode. This is exactly what he was working on doing. So I'm looking forward to watching that. So what did I end up with for the magazines? I got like, as far as I can tell, I've got like every issue back to like 1990. I don't know when they stop. I think I've got up through like 2020 or so, which is about the time I think this guy retired from Grizzly. He doesn't work there anymore. Yeah, so I not only got these, the Home Shop Machinist, like I got a whole bunch of issues of Digital Machinist and a bunch of Live Steam too, which I'm not as interested in these two magazines per se, but these, man, and there's just a bunch of them. Like, as far as I can tell, I've got like all 12 issues or 6 issues, I think is what they put out per year. I think I've got them dating like all the way back, like a long way. So pretty thrilled about that it would just turn out that, yeah, well, he starts his series and I just bought the magazine like 12 hours earlier. As for me, I've been looking for a project. When I was about 10 years old, it dawned on me. I still remember exactly where I was when it dawned on me that if you could make an engine from scratch, that would be like the coolest thing ever. I was really into the model airplane, like little engines and stuff, but I could never afford any of the plane stuff. I could buy the magazines and read them and kind of wish and want, right? But at about 10, I thought, and I didn't know anything about machining metal. I didn't even know if that would be possible to make an engine. But it's been literally almost an entire life dream of mine to get to build one. And apart from like little wiggler motors, I've built a couple of those. I've never actually built a running engine. And I've had a hard time coming up with what I really want. It just seems like every time there's an issue, like, there have been little engines that, I thought I could build, but then at the end you have to like make the fuel yourself. And I'm like, it just seems like there's always something where I'm like, I don't think I could get that done. So I think I'm going to try to build the little Webster engine, which there's already 2 other YouTubers that have done full series on building this. So if I have to, I'm a pretty good machinist. Like, I can hit numbers and stuff. I've never built an engine and gotten it to run. But I'm figuring between watching what those 2 guys did and having the plans myself, this looks fairly straightforward to me. I'm going to try to build one of these. Might end up trying to build the engine that Mark Pressling's working on too. I forget what it's called. It's the something or other 60. I might try to build one of those next too after he completes the series. Not sure. We'll see how this first one goes. So yeah, it's called the Crusader 60. I might try to build that later because that's basically just a bar stock motor, nothing special in terms of fuel. Like, I can buy the fuel over the counter. So this is something I'm definitely interested in trying to do myself too. So anyway, as for today, I think what I'm going to work on, it seems like I'm always just working on either I'm working on tools or I'm making more tools. I hardly ever get to an actual project apart from like just trying to get my tools set up ready to go. And right around the time I get a machine ready to run and use, something else comes up on Marketplace and I go and buy it. Right now, I'm like, oh, you know what I really want to buy? An FP1 is for sale right now. And so I'm like, you know what? I could really use a decal to go with my decal. And so there's an FP1 for sale right now close by me. I can afford to go and get it. I'm waiting to hear back from the seller. If he does reach back out to me, I will probably go and buy an FP1 is the truth of it. And then I'll start the process over of putting DRO and shit on it and never get to the engine project, right? I just love cast iron. I love these machines. I like working on them. But at some point, I need to settle in and decide, yeah, this is the machine I'm going to keep and put it to use. So what I'm going to probably work on today is my little, I need DRO on the quill for this. You can see I've got this cover plate taken off of here. I'm going to build a plate out of aluminum that's going to occupy that space and give me an attachment point for this guy here so that I can have DRO on the quill. I've also got an RPM, a digital RPM that needs to go on this machine. I've got a digital RPM that needs to go on this machine. I want to put a DRO on this machine. This morning on eBay, when I sold my other 10K, I had built a micrometer stop for it. I like working off of a micrometer stop, and I accidentally let it go with the machine, so I don't have a stop to work up against on this machine. And so I hopped on eBay this morning. I found one for about a third less than what they normally go for. So it was, they're usually like 150 bucks. I've never had an original South Bend one. And so I ordered up one of those, only 100 bucks, $10 shipping and $10 for the tax. So as for getting eBayed, it's actually a pretty good deal. So, and that's one less thing that I have to build for this machine before I can put it to use, actually making some shit. So anyhow, I'm going to get to work, you guys. I'm going to work on this today and we'll see how far I get on it. I will check in with you guys again later. Eric, Secondary Machine. I will talk to y'all soon.